Welcome to the quaint village of Hart. At the centre of it stands the church of St Mary Magdalene, the mother church of St Hilda's on the headland of the town. The church itself feels like a peaceful refuge, almost an oasis of calm amid the chaos of modern life. Its origins trace back as far as the 7th century, perched high with clear views over the North Sea. You can almost imagine generations of villagers watching the skies, hoping the weather wouldn't ruin their crops, or scanning the horizon for the safe return of fishermen, and maybe, just maybe, keeping an eye out for invading Vikings. Yes, while Lindisfarne often gets the credit as the first Viking raid, Hart is thought to have suffered much the same fate. There's even a curious carving on the church's stone wall, a knight slaying a dragon. Some say this means the church was built over a pagan site, while others like to dream up connections to the legendary Beowulf and his monstrous nemesis Grendel, both stories steeped in the eerie mists of the coastline. But if you think that's the spookiest part, wait until you hear about Hart's witchy reputation. Back in 1596, a woman named Ellen Thompson, branded a witch, was supposedly buried under the stile that used to be at the east entrance to the churchyard. Why there? Well, so anyone entering would literally have to walk all over her. Charming, isn't it? A History of County Durham Volume 3 from 1928 tells us, in 1596, Ellen Thompson, fornicatrix and excommunicated, was buried of the people in the chair of the entrance unto the yeat or stile of the churchyard on the east thereof. A small side note, I actually went to primary school in this village many years ago, and a teacher once told me that one of the supposed witches was actually buried over the other side of this wall and not under the stile, as to not be buried in consecrated ground. Perhaps the most curious tale belongs to Alison Law, accused in 1582 of being a sorcerer and enchanter. Her crime? Helping neighbours by offering cures for their ailments. In today's terms, she was probably the village herbalist or midwife. A History of County Durham once again tells us, 2 women of the neighbourhood had consulted her and asked her for cures for the sick. Fortunately, this was before the outbreak of the witch superstition in the 17th century, and Alison was condemned only to stand with a paper on her head, once in Durham Market, once in Hart Church, and once in Norton Church. She was peacefully buried at Hart 6 years later, on the 5th of August, 1588. Interestingly, Alison wasn't excommunicated and was buried in the churchyard the same year England faced the Spanish Armada, so clearly the universe had bigger problems than a herbal healer. It's not just Ellen Thompson and Alison Law who made the local history books. In 1459 there was Helena di Inferno, amazing name by the way. Then there was Old Mother Midnight, who was laid to rest in 1641 in nearby Elwick. Both tales for another time perhaps. The truth is, these women were far from the witches of modern Hollywood. They were wise women, midwives and herbalists living on the edge of a superstitious society. Their knowledge and independence made them easy targets for suspicion, which as you might imagine rarely ended well in a village full of wary neighbours. So if you're out for a stroll and you feel a bit of a chill in the air, might be the sea breeze, possibly, just possibly, might be one of Hart's witches just letting you know that they're still here.